Ready? Hey, you're already first. Taking this one? Yeah, no, I mean, obviously, so yeah, I've logged. Oh, 18. It's good, you know. All right, hello everybody. If you haven't been here before, welcome to Sector 67. We do these monthly show and tell style meetings to look at projects that they share or things that they're up to. And then afterwards we can do quick intros and you can say who we are, what you're interested in, or whatever else. So there's a fewer if you're interested in that. Yeah, I think we got other folks sharing things tonight. We'll see how scary questions we can come up with. Yeah, much take it away. Thanks, David. Thanks, Chris.
I'm David Bond, long-time lurker, first-time presenter. I've been coming to Sector for about 10 months now. I first came into one of these meetups last August, and I had a goal in mind to build that thing, and that thing has been in process in my head for about 4 years. We moved into our house here in Madison 4 years ago this summer, and we thought, oh, there's a perfect spot for some kind of plant stand thing. So it started with blank slate. It started with the idea of wood. I was a member out at the joinery on the far west side. They only have woodworking tools, so I thought, well, I'll make something out of wood. And the first thing I thought was a set of 3 different height stools, essentially. And then I thought, what about an actual shelf unit? And so it morphed into a shelf unit with 3 shelves and just slots for holding the plants. And then I thought, it's not quite what I want. And I was dying to get back into doing some metalworking. And I discovered Sector 67, and I came last August, and I thought, well, I don't know why these aren't all showing up, because it's a PDF and it got poorly rendered. We should have looked at all of them. So I thought, okay, I'll start with something simple, and I'll make it out of copper tubing for the frame. And the copper tubing, I realized quite quickly, all I had was 1/2-inch stuff lying around the house, and I thought copper tubing just isn't going to be sturdy enough to be structural. So the copper tubing idea sort of morphed into, oh, how about steel? And when I asked Chris, how easy or hard is it to weld stainless steel? Thank you. He laughed and he said, well, actually, it's not that hard. But he almost immediately said, but you got to passivate the welds. And I was like, the hell is passivating the welds? No idea. I had tried welding stainless steel many years ago and never pursued the idea of this passivating. Does anybody know what passivating welds is? Awesome. I'm glad to see what one has there.
It's the heat effective zone will rust if you don't. It's a chemical or it's an electrochemical process that cleans up the heat affected zone so it doesn't rust.
Right. It turns out stainless steel will rust if in the weld, and the reason is that iron gets into the weld from various places if you contaminate the weld in any way. In fact, Chris told me one of the first things he said. Commercial metal shops have separate buildings for their stainless steel work so that they don't contaminate the steel with higher iron content steel. So I thought, okay, that sounds fun. And I went down this rabbit hole of learning about passivation. And as a bonus, I bought a quart of pickling fluids, is what they call it. Wonder Gel stainless steel pickling gel. I think it's like hydrochloric or hydrofluoric acid or something. It's wicked stuff.
It smooths out your pores too.
Yeah, it does a great job of that. So this stuff is really great. Imagine welding supply. I'm not getting paid this for promoting. And if we got pictures of some welds. So I'm not a great welder, but that's weld before it was passivated, and I also welded some stainless steel nuts on the bottom for the casters. So the welds are pretty ugly, and I thought, ew. But passivating is what cleans those up. So it removes the discoloration, and it also it applies. There's a chemical reaction to bring the oxide up to the surface so that it's the stainless steel, the chrome in the stainless steel will continue or restore the water resistance, and so it continues to be stainless in the future. And so I thought, I'd like to keep the stainless steel showing, and so I wiped it all down. I wiped the whole surface down with the passivating gel just to get all the mill grease and stuff like that off. So that was fun. I think this presentation will be up on the site, or you can learn all about passivating at that place. So there's what it looks like in situ. And I had fun doing it. I got to figure out what to do next. Okay, questions? Yes.
Where'd you buy materials?
Oh, yeah, I was going to mention that. Weedbecks for the steel and Menards for the tile.
Broken pills.
Menards also. Yeah.
Did you put a finish on it?
No, it's just the passivation, just the passivated stuff. So it's, I thought about putting, like a lacquer or something, but I didn't. Yeah, and I didn't even touch on the tiling, but I have some tiling materials left over. I still have some grout, an epoxy grout, and if anybody's doing any tiling, I've got half a bucket of white, bright white epoxy grout.
Kind of plants you're growing?
Just plain old house plant. Really.
So you is it just a stainless plate underneath that you recess down the 3/8 or something, and then you glue the tile?
No, it's just hunk of plywood with an angle iron reinforcing it to keep it straight. But it's just 3/4 inch plywood, and it's got just a veneer, cherry veneer on the edges.
So they're locked in place by those notches. Size.
These?
No, I mean like these. Is that?
That's just so that it would fit in the back where the upright is.
Like, is that?
Yeah, that just locks it in place. I wanted the shelves to be removable, so the top shelf has little blocks of wood to keep it in place. So you can grab it by the shelf and move it around. It's super cheating, but it's just blocks of wood to keep it in place.
And you're just using the angle that's stiff in it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, when I cut the plywood, because this has taken so long, I cut the plywood a year ago, and when I finally got around to tiling, the plywood was warped. So I thought, that's not good.
Yes, Sean.
What's the process of passivating white? You just wipe that stuff on, or?
Oh yeah, you literally wipe it on with I had obviously gloves on, but you wipe it on with a cloth, let it sit for 15 or 20 minutes, and then wipe it off. Some of the welds were a little bit more burned than the other ones, and I had to do a couple of coats, a couple of applications doing that, but they cleaned up pretty nicely. For the most part, I'm not a good welder, so I burned through it in a couple of spots, but fortunately the shelves hide them, burned spots.
What's the total cost?
Oh, come on now.
Oh.
On video too.
Oh yeah.
Or if you want, like, what is the how much do you get the weaving back for all the metal?
I bought way more steel than I needed. I paid, I think, about 2 20-foot sticks. And I think the steel was like $310. And, you know, a little bit of plywood, and the tiles were cheap, I think. $30 or $40 for the tile. Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely the stainless steel that was most expensive, and then TIG welding rods and the TIG setup. Yeah, I mean those I'll use again, but or the TIG setup that I bought. Yeah, I'd say 400.
The good thing with being in the field though is it'll outlast humanity. So it's just good forever. Literally.
Is there a reason you chose stainless steel over like the rest of the material?
I chose stainless because I wanted to learn how to weld it. Really? Yeah. I've tried welding aluminum and I can't. I just don't have enough patience. Maybe that'll be a future project.
Any other questions?
If you're gonna do it again, would you use a laser welder instead?
I would love to do that. Absolutely. Yeah. In fact, after I was finished with it, I was like, wait, Chris, what's this laser welder thing in here? What does this do? And he showed me some of the welds that you can do with it. It's pretty awesome.
The problem with the laser welder is the pieces have to be perfectly put together. You'll spend hours filing and sanding to make this thing perfect, and then you won't even need the welds anyway.
And we need the shelves then to cover it.
Exactly, but no, it needs to be like really, really, really tight because the laser doesn't build. It just sticks things that are adjacent together. So it won't. It's adding filler, but it won't like build a gap. It won't. It just won't do that. It's got to be super tight. So that's the downside.
So you'd have to laser cut the pieces then too.
What
Go
was
ahead,
that?
Mark, I said. Oh, Jim is out of questions.
So on August 1st, which is not long away, what is it? 3.5 weeks away, Saturday, August 1st. Do people know about the repair cafe we're doing in here? Save your broken stuff, bring it in. Thanks for bringing that up. There's a recent popular movement to help people fix stuff, and what better thing to do at Sector 67 than to make new parts for whatever, a busted lawnmower, or I don't know, a washing machine that needs a new drum. So August 1st from noon till 4 o'clock, we're gonna have, I think the space around there is gonna be opened up, and we'll have some space outside for maybe some small engine repair. And we're looking for volunteers that are interested in helping people fix their stuff, as well as people that are looking to fix things. So put it on your calendar. Yeah, this is on the website.
Now, was anybody coming? That's the real question.
Yeah.
Was the pitch effective? This is the immediate feedback.
I see a couple of heads nodding.
What things I fix?
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the other thing I know Scott's encouraged about is even if you don't know how to fix things, if you want to come and volunteer, you can sort of shadow somebody and you can learn how to fix things by watching and understanding the process. So he's got a bit about in mentorship in here. You can be part of the mentor to learn more about how to do this. So our kind of goal was, can we fix somebody's thing, but can we also fix the community so the community becomes stronger and is able to more readily fix things based on building with knowledge. So
And also in that spirit, we're gonna have a table for kids to be able to just take stuff apart, see how they work, which I think would be really cool.
So when you bring your things in, just set them on that table.
Yeah.
They'll be fixed into art by the time it leaves.
Yeah.
And as Gatsby was saying, sometimes there's more people that can fix things than people bringing stuff in to get fixed. So spread the word, tell people who obviously know who aren't already in the skiing community to bring in stuff to get fixed, because that's kind of.
That's the hard part, is finding people with broken stuff. You
Yeah,
think
yeah.
there's lots of people with broken stuff, but it actually turned out to be difficult to find the broken stuff. At any rate, thank you.
All right, thanks.
So we're David the Sun Ice, we're auctioning this off. Bids are $5, starting at $5. Mark, you should go straight up beyond it.
I hope so.
It's $5.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the build, like excitement, fine, it's good.
Look a lot.
Sure. Yeah, you should do that. What's this?
Slow out data.
And then you should be able to do slideshow.
Cool. Alright. So this is a washing machine and I gotta think of something to say here while you get to watch the gift go around and around, because that, took a few minutes to make.
I see flame.
Yeah, it's.
Yes, plane, right? I know, it's pretty cool. So, you might remember the last time I spoke here was in February. And I brought in a dryer drum, which some people mistook for a coffee roaster because I talked about coffee that night. This has nothing to do with coffee, but this is the saga of the washer and dryer. So the reason that I was fixing the dryer in February was because the dryer sits on top of the washer. The next, decided, that I was tired of hearing the dryer squeak, but I didn't really want to take it apart. So I figured, well, next time the washer breaks, and I have the dryer, and then I'll fix the dryer. So I did fix the dryer, and that's the taking apart dryer. And the upper center is the new and old pin from the back of the drum. That's with the new pin in place. The old pin you can see here has a big shoulder in it that's not supposed to be there. So that it was just bouncing around in the bearing and making noise. And this is a new shaft that I made here. And then Chris did the nice welds for me on there because I tried a couple times and on test pieces I wasn't going to get it. So I noticed the drum on that side. So that's why I fixed the dryer, is because the washer broke. Well, let's talk about, but this is all about the washer. So what happened with that washer? So we put a load of laundry in the washing machine one day in late January, early February, and it starts making this noise, like an arcing noise, and starts smelling things, like, oh, that's not good. Okay. So unplugged it, turned off the circuit and stuff. I go to deal with that later. The question was like late at night when it first went, because that's when those things happen. So later when I had a chance, I traced the fault to this connector here on the side of the motor. And I want to know, well, what would happen if I run this thing some more? So because why not, right? So I took it outside and plugged it in, and you can see the snow in the driveway, and ran this thing some more. I think, I don't know if I checked to share the audio or not.
Oh, that's.
But okay, you can actually hear arcs in the audio, but the line is not very loud. But this is the thing, yeah, you can see the sparks in that. And so this is a test cycle where it's just spinning, and I think those times when it's arcing is actually when it's supposed to be spinning the other way. It's not spinning the other way, it's just short circuiting instead. And I think it gets some better flames towards the end of this one. Or not, it never actually that's the interesting thing, is it never really caught fire. It did like briefly have a flame there. There's some pretty good sparks. Yeah.
You hung clothes below it, they might dry all the things.
Right. Might have holes in them too. So it was it never the case around here is far enough away that didn't get hot. So just kind of sat there and did that. I think that's the end of that video. So I did though, while this was running, I was wondering, well, never tripped the breaker, never tripped the GSDI I was plugged into. I was wondering why. So when it was running out here, I plugged it into I tried to monitor the current. So I had one of these sawn-off things around. If you've ever messed with these, if you haven't messed with these things, really useful, kind of hackable. home automation thing. You can put Tasmota on them. With a little bit of futzing, and that's like a open source thing that lets you do stuff with it without anybody else's cloud in the way. And so I had one of those, plugged it into there, it'll monitor current, it'll also switch load on and off for you, so you can do a lot of automation with it. It's got timers built in, that kind of stuff. And I just started throwing HTTP queries at it as quickly as this loop down here would go. It looked like it got about 10 points a second if you look at that plot up there. So it was pulling in data real fast, but I didn't realize until the whole thing was done that actually it was not sampling the current that frequently. So it was just like it gave me a number of times, and it gave me another number for another few seconds. So it didn't give me the time resolution I really wanted, and it didn't go further. It would have been cool to have more of a curve on this thing, but it did hit 22 amps at one point. That was the maximum. So yeah, wouldn't trip a breaker. Even a 15 amp breaker for a short 22 amp and a trip. So it just kind of kept going like that, and it wasn't shorting the ground, so it didn't hit the GFCI. But I did then wanted to try to sync the data with the video, and this is as good as I could do. Is there's a little plot down there of 20 seconds or so of current data synced with that video. I messed with this for a while, but I realized that AI was probably the better solution to this problem. So I had Claude make this thing up for me this morning, and so this is the video is synced to the plot.
You need a chimney on that thing, really.
Yeah.
Proud to get Claude into this.
Yeah, it was. I think the interesting thing was I started with Gemini, because that's been my go-to, and I might have asked the wrong thing to start with, because I asked if you could can you make a video of this, putting together this appliance, or I forget exactly, something about, I basically said, could you make a video putting these things together? And it's like, well, yes, if you pay for the, the non screw that. So I hit another site that I thought was Claude, but I think maybe it wasn't Claude. I actually got the Claude. And I asked Claude if it could do this. And I might have asked the question slightly differently, but Claude was happy to say, oh yeah, I could put together an HTML page for you that will sync and make a graph and sync it with the video. And I'm like, okay, sounds good. It's like upload the video, give me a CSV of the data, and it spat out something pretty close to this in the first iteration. I asked it to actually, it also even included a slider. I told it I had the data synced pretty well, but there may be a little bit of error. So it included a slider, so I could adjust the slider 5 seconds either direction to align it. And then once I found the spot, I told her, okay, set it at 1.2 seconds. And it made the plot with straight lines at first. The actual points are the points shown there. So in between, then I said, can you put like a cubic spline smoothing on there? And it said, yeah, but actually the cubic spline, like I'd done in the spreadsheet beforehand, would dip below 0. This shouldn't dip below 0. So it even came up with some better math that slides down to 0 and doesn't go below 0. So it spat me back that just this HTML, and it just references the video, which is in the same folder, so it doesn't need a path otherwise. And I came up with this whole thing. So that was kind of cool, a little bit scary. But yeah, so you can actually stop the video and drag this thing back and forth, and you can you can kind of look at the it basically does spark when at the highest current points in there. So that was interesting. That just accomplished what I was hoping to see. Was, I don't know, can I line this stuff up? So
But also kind of beside the point, did you fix it?
No. Gosh, no. Well, this thing was beyond repair, clearly, or at least I did not. It was 17 years old, I think, at this point. So I repaired many other things in this washer, but this is definitely like, I don't know, arcing in my bedroom is kind of the last straw. I felt like I mean, one could fix it, but
There's a repair coming up.
Oh,
yeah. So this is the connector after having wrecked a bunch more in the driveway. That other picture was before doing that, so you can see what it looked like. So here is the connector. You're welcome to take a look. Welcome to take it out of the bag if you want, but it will get some gooey stuff on your hands.
For auction,
Why is it gooey?
it's right at $5.
So,
Yeah, I bet.
Wait.
That's the minimum starting. That's
Yeah, I guess. I was like,
great soda.
So yeah, you can see the melty parts there. Connector. I think it's so I think it was these last two wires ended up getting short somehow. It was so I measured 60 ohms on that connector after removing it between 9 and 10, which are that shifted a little bit, but it's part of the schematic. So it's like a rotor line and a stator line, the motor. So it doesn't seem like probably a great thing to have a short. And 60 ohms would only get you 2 amps though. So you know, I calculated maybe 40 micron gap would arc at 120 volts. So my kind of theory is that somehow it managed to get that small of a gap that it could arc across. I don't know. That's the most I can get out of it. I shared this with a colleague, a guy I used to work with who's like, his whole career is compliance and understanding this kind of like how stuff or making sure stuff gets designed so bad stuff doesn't happen. So I learned a lot when I was working there about like flame retardant plastics. So we got to use this. Why can't we, you know, this stuff is expensive and it's not what we want, but oh, you have to use it because there's electrical wires. And so it's like, oh, okay, this is why. Because it never actually did sustain a flame. It didn't burn up my bedroom. So I guess that was a good thing. I guess that's why they do that. Still kind of weird to have the whole thing just doing that anyway, but that's what it did. So yeah, there you have it. Oh yeah, yeah. So if I wasn't home, it sounds like it probably wouldn't have burned the house down. I don't think.
Okay. Questions? But don't they make arc-full protector breakers things?
HCI.
Power ones, yeah, that's like.
If it doesn't short the ground, it won't set off a GFCI.
Right, right.
Yeah, so new homes by code are required to do both parallel and series protection. So yeah, if you have the carbon fibers in your basement, they would have caught it.
And it can tell us series,
Which is why, yeah.
Okay, good to know. Yeah.
on the HCI, which are Windows 17.
Yeah, it's very recent. It's new stuff. Like you gotta have a house all the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Well,
They put those in if you replace your panel these days.
you can rebid them if you want to. Like you can put them in old, like you can take an old panel and they were meant to resist stuff.
Yeah.
Trouble is that you'll find anywhere that they didn't run the neutrals independent, stuff like that. So
Okay.
you might find other faults and things, but
That'll blow GFCIs too.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, but if you got no FCIs, then good.
Yeah.
But only certain circuits they do that.
Yes, and this may, I can't remember, I think also might be.
HCI now is almost everything.
yeah, when I built my house 20 years ago. When I built my house 20 years ago, they were only required in the bedroom.
Yeah, but
It's basically the way the
GFCIs?
GFCIs are.
Eight.
Wet
Bathrooms,
Yeah.
kitchens,
GFCIs everywhere, besides. Wire remembers now.
Back in way back 20 years ago, there were certain exceptions for freezers, washing machines, but that's gone.
Yeah, I think the only exception I'm still aware of is garbage disposal, which blows me away. Cause it's power and water, but you don't have to have arc or a JSCAM.
That's the garbage disposal industry. Yeah.
So I'm just curious, did you try to connect past that connector? Did you determine was the connector failing and started to arc or was it? something overamping because a bit downstream, upstream.
Right, I'm pretty sure I isolated to the connector, like I think I checked the. Check resistance on the motor and it was running. There, yeah.
You see stuff like this in cars a lot, which is very
Yeah.
similar vibration issue. Where
Okay.
what happens is the pin contactors are supposed to be sprung to make
Okay.
solid contact, and then when they stop springing, you start getting arc. And then once it starts arcing and heats, it takes this connector body and starts to melt it, which then loosens it, and then you get adjacent, and then you get all sorts of weird stuff. This is like super progressed.
Yeah.
Usually it just starts to arc and it'll melt the connector.
Yeah, okay, that's interesting. Yeah. I mean, if anybody's, feeling daring, you could maybe put this into a variac or something. And confirm the theory or not.
Well, and the reason it's arcing it through it is because the carbon buildup. That's letting them get a low conductor kind of.
Because that's
Conductive, yeah. A lot of it in there now, but
the non-flame, the plastic that didn't flame did become a resistor, yeah.
What did the melting package do? 2 pins out of 2.
all that was in there is a rotor and stator, and then for the motor.
Did I was supposed to turn it backwards.
Does your new washing machine include schematics?
It does, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta take off the cover to find it, right? So, yeah. Yeah, they usually bury that inside the thing somewhere.
Any other questions, anybody? Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Right, it's July, so it's a quiet time of year. It's all I've got for you presentations as far as I know, unless somebody's the dark horse has something else to share.
We're there yet, don't forget.
Yeah, exactly.
We did a couple of classes, few weeks ago, we ran that adding with electricity class again, or I helped Scott and Peter run it again. There was also that open SCAT.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got other ideas or requests regarding that, adding with electricity, we're going to do it again if people want it. If you know people who might be interested, let them know, tell them to talk to Scott.
I have a. Go ahead.
Is Repair Cafe being promoted, other than one alone?
Yes.
So-
Yeah, great question. We sent press releases to media around the city,
Social media?
social and commercial media.
But Dean, if you'd like to volunteer to help, they're looking for volunteers to help. distribute, information.
great.
Yeah, I'll be a bridge between doing something.
Yeah. So this was a fun one. Somebody donated a bunch of electrical stuff. They were like a mechatronics engineer. This thing came along with, and I don't know that we'll ever know what it is specifically, but it's a very interesting part. So I'll pass it around just for funsies. It's a cutaway, so this wouldn't be cutaway, I don't think. At least I think it's a cutaway. It sure looks like one, but it's an interesting intersection between some kind of pneumatic or hydraulic application and something else, but it's unclear what it's supposed to do. So anyway, I'll pass it around as a fun mystery. So not seeing other presentations, I'm going to kill off Zoom, and then if folks want to say who they are, what they're considering, or why they're here, or whatever else, go for it. So, well, if you guys want to start, go for it.
David Plant, I did that.